me ask you something. What does it mean to be a Jew today? Is it just bagels on Sunday and menorah on Hanukkah? Or is it knowing deep in your bones that we are a part of a story far older than America, older than the Enlightenment, older than socialism, liberalism, or whatever moral fashion is trending this year? Because some of you, my fellow Jews, seem to have forgotten that story. Or worse, you've betrayed it. You organize protests against the only Jewish state. You protest Israel's lawful attack against Iran, a bloodthirsty regime that threatens to wipe the one Jewish state off the map. You shout slogans fed to you by genocidal regimes. You repost Hamas propaganda while Jewish families bury their dead. You sign open letters defending those who cheer our slaughter, and you dare to call that solidarity? And what's worse, you do it as Jews, as a Jew. You wear your Jewish identity like a moral badge that gives you your betrayal some kind of gravitas. But you're not the first. Let's talk about history. In ancient Judea, when the Romans ruled, Jewish elites collaborated with the empire. They mocked the zealots, the defenders of Masada, the fighters of freedom. In the end, Jerusalem burnt and the temple fell. Their loyalty brought them nothing but destruction. In Spain, where my family comes from, in 1492, some converted Jews, the conversos, testified against their fellow Jews in the Inquisition. They thought that by becoming tools of the regime, they'd be spared. They weren't. The fire didn't care whose side they claimed to be on. Under Stalin, the Jewish section of the Communist Party, the Yevzhevskaya, worked to dismantle Jewish life in the USSR. They shut down synagogues, banned Hebrew, crushed Zionist youth groups, all in the name of progress. And when Stalin was done using them, he purged them too. You think you're different? You're not. Today, we see Jewish students marching under From the River to the Sea banners, Jewish writers twisting language to call October 7th resistance, Jewish so-called intellectuals calling out Israel and the US for attacking Iran's nuclear sites, Jewish voters casting their ballots for candidates who undermine Jewish safety? Yes, let's talk about that. Just this week, some Jewish voters in New York cast their ballots for Zoran Mondani in the mayoral primaries, a man who has spread anti-Israel rhetoric, aligned himself with radical anti-Zionist groups, and dismissed Jewish concerns as privileged whining. And yet, he got your vote. Why? To prove you're the one of the good ones. To show you're not that kind of Jew. You handed power to someone who mocks your own people in a time of crisis. Why? Because you've confused moral posturing for moral clarity. You've absorbed the language of oppressors and turned it inward against your own family, your people, your story. You've adopted the cultural sickness of co-opting other people's pain instead of standing in your own truth. You act like we're part of the white oppressor class, erasing centuries of persecution, exile, and genocide just to gain credibility in those radical circles. You buy into the lie that Jews have white privilege, as if we were ever handed anything. We weren't born into power. We built safety where there was none. With ingenuity, resilience, and relentless work, our success didn't come from systems that favored us. It came from surviving the systems that tried to destroy us. And we don't wear victimhood like a badge, even when we have every right to. After pogroms, after exile, after the Shoah, we didn't build our identity around pain. We built it around continuity, around rising again. That's why there's an Israel, and that's why we still exist. But you're playing with fire. Do you really think that when the mobs come, they'll pause and check your voting record? That your open letter will protect you from being labelled a dirty Jew or Zionist scum? That your kafir will act as a shield? It won't. And deep down, you know it. You're not brave. You're not radical. You're just the latest iteration of the Jew who thinks if he or she turns on their people, they'll be spared. But you never are. Not by Rome, not by the Inquisition, not by the Soviets, not by the woke mobs, not by Islamists, and certainly not by Hamas. We don't need you to be a nationalist. We need you to be a Jew, a rooted one who knows that Judaism is not a costume or a conversation piece. It's a covenant. It's a bond. The indigenous people of the land of Israel, with a peoplehood also forged in exile, tested in fire, and reborn in freedom. You still have time to come back. We need all of us now, even you.